Hello and welcome to the Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Elysium. On the last Let's Play, we broke into the harbor just for a little bit, and now we're just gonna.
Getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think.
We're gonna fiddle around with people until we go to sleep.
Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me in. I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno. Going away for life.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
I mean, yeah, she's degenerate, so... I think she's, not 100% white, so we can put her in jail forever, right?
What's this kid shit? Fucking mind games. I'd rather die than squeal.
Get the fuck out of here, face. You got done. Talk to me.
So it's a girl. Interesting.
Okay. I just don't want to waste my time until... Oh, there's an area up here, which is something or other. Well, actually, we're kind of done with the body, I think, so we could probably be like, hey, can we call it in or something like that? Unless there's something over here.
2 cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. It's guarding over the freezing corpse.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing.
Damn it.
Ah.
This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle. Okay, so you can sneak out of your room maybe, after he's gone to sleep.
Right. Though, I wouldn't understand how it would be like, yes, the boots, they, stuff and things. We could maybe pet the mailbox for, like, emotional support, I think.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its... The box seems happy.
Cool.
A sturdy metal door guards the sound.
Oop.
A sturdy metal... The door rattles against your knuckles. The door rattles again. But this time, you hear an elderly woman's voice calling out from inside.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting into the building. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door. There must be another entrance to the east.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
Yeah.
There is no reply.
Okay. So maybe we can bot the rich person over here. I know there's some rich person over here. We got time. I didn't think we had that much time.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Baton, my maiden name. I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia, the police. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
That's of us.
I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
I don't know how you'd firmly and, welly shake a hand of some person, because, like, I have a high grip strength. I think people will be like, oh, babies are so strong because they can, hold up on their own weight with one hand. It's like, I'm sorry, I can do that as an adult and stuff like that, and at which point it's like, well, how much strength do I have to firmly shake with a hand?
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting.
Oh, heck. What?
I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. Why, yes I am.
This boat, it floats.
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas a la Mer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
I feel like if you have this sail, you wouldn't need a motor. Just saying.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Yeah?
Before you do, it will be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Kim, I don't know how this might be relevant, but it could be. Sorry.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Class word time, baby. Try
Detective,
that.
may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
What I need?
Your synapses flesh.
I have no idea what anybody's getting at.
Okay, it is anti-centennial. I assure you they drove quite a hard bargain for this space, but you're right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat. Good.
There's so many things.
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Wild Pines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormentang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own.
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
I'd have to actually look at things because, you know, when money could lie.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom
Sorry
did
that
you
we
hear
that we
this lynching?
found it was the guy in train.
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
I have no idea.
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
Though, here's the thing. How do strikebreakers work? Do the company pay them extra to do it, or what?
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Have you seen him?
I don't remember him.
Of course.
Well, actually,
Everard Clare, of course not.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out.
He is the most yes. Ed is how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
You know.
Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
I could have eaten it.
Oh, dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond.
Neither do I.
I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
F5?
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
Show the photo?
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. Of course, Detective.
Well, I think that's going to be the end of this display.
Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey. You. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich.
Oh, come on.
Sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket. Literally murder all human beings, regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Failure. It's about failure. Of course you do. You are failure. You are communism. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped, shat on, while everyone else is out partying, having a callous laugh. You will reverse the fortune of the workers. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering you again. Now get to work, comrade.
Sure.
Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
Oh, what did I, volunteer and do? As in social economics. So, let's see what that is on the tier list. Remarkable, only useful in under rare circumstances. Well, fuck that shit. And what's this?
Wow, you work hard.
I hope so.
Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like, life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas.
Sure.
It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer. Yeah, you're in the sales business. Shake 'em for shit and then pawn it off. Law officer style. Yeah, you're in the sales business. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy?
No.
Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about
hopefully
to have an
not.
anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, Ask yourself, are you rich?
No.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
I mean, maybe it's because I'm a alcoholic, but I don't know. Fucking Texas, man.
Because of the taxes, G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gossamer state that is Revachol? You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gossamer state's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking 98% of all your money. What are you, a racist? Don't be a racist. Be a cool immigrant, ultra-liberal free market advocate. Ride or die. Keep it street.
I'm not sure if he goes away at night or comes back in the morning, so, I don't know. I thought at 2 a.m. he would just, you know, go away. So, I want to check, even though we're over time.
This is the door to the room.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment.
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM?
I feel like that is an entire Let's Play in of itself, so that's gonna be the end of this one. So guys, comments, dislike, tips. Otherwise, if you like me and you like to go, then please subscribe and check out our videos. Go Spain Ramos control the paper office in Elysium because it's just how the game saves. And talks with me, GamerWolfSix of Elysium. Thanks and see ya.